Hello, I'm the Nostalgia Critic guy. Remember it so you don't have to. What happens when you make a successful website anniversary special? Make an even bigger one the next year, make an even bigger one the next year, and then make the biggest, most viewed, and most expensive one that they've ever made? You say, fuck you, I'm tired and would rather have other people contribute to the fact that I have nothing to offer. These are their table scraps. Sort of like a creep show meets Twilight Zone meets the guy begging for money outside, the Uncanny Valley is the 5th anniversary special of ThatGuyWithTheGlasses.com, which I know would make you think that I would have to enjoy it and give it a positive review. Well, I would if I was fucking in it. I'm not. Instead, we have new characters to introduce to the audience, because quite clearly that paid off so well in the past. So let's take a look at an anniversary special that clearly needed more of yours truly. This is the Uncanny Valley. The special opens with what looks like is going to be a blackface routine, but instead gives us something even more creepy. A Rob Zombie puppet made out of human flesh.
Join me as we travel to another dimension.
Actually, this is the Webmaster, who's supposed to be kind of like the Crypt Keeper from Tales from the Crypt, except strangely enough that lifeless animatronic somehow looks more convincing than this guy. I'm not sure how they did that.
Who are you?
I'm Thomas.
He comes across a guy who got double booked in the studio they were supposed to perform in, and hijinks!
Listen, Veggie Burger. The station said I had this studio until 8.
Oh, goodness gracious me. They must have double booked.
Can you get out of here now?
Not before I balanced your chakras.
But who fast forwarded? That's what I want to know, not me! I just wanted to have.
Your ginkgo biloba.
This leads to our first story called Dragonborn. We open with a guy named Carl, who's supposed to be an obsessed gamer but clearly isn't because I can't smell him through the screen, as his coworker calls him up to make sure he's getting his report ready for work.
You got the merger proposal covered?
Oh yeah, nearly done.
Well, why don't you finish it?
I will, I just gotta get through this one dungeon.
What are you playing?
Skyguard.
Dude, that's not a game, that's a lifestyle choice.
As the supportive black friend in every movie ever made, it is my job to yell at you and be as paranoid as possible. Of course, the supportive black friend in every movie ever made can only be outdone by the supportive hot girlfriend in every movie ever made. Though to be fair, she doesn't support him as much as tell him he should stop playing his stupid game and do chores around the house. You know, because this is a constant problem for most obsessed gamers, when their incredibly hot girlfriends who don't have an interest in gaming interrupt their playing before working on a business merger that could make their successful company even more money, all while being clean-shaven, wearing a business shirt at home, and being relatively clean and good-looking for someone who clearly has an addiction to... I'm not buying it either. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that all gamers are like this. I'm saying that clearly for the addiction that this character is supposed to have, only a truly obsessed, addicted gamer would think they really have a life like this. In fact, we actually have an artist rendition of what the typical obsessed gamer looks like. They're being way too nice. But Carl is still unsatisfied with his life and wishes it could be more like the video game world.
What happened to my freedom? What happened to adventure? Sometimes I wish life were more like you, Skyguard.
Well, if there's anything the incredible Mr. Limpet has taught us, is that your bad wish will often make for a bad movie. And sure enough, the game spits out his online creation named Yimbroth. And now, he has to adapt to our world!
Yo, you idiots made the game! So do you know what's gonna happen? I'm sorry, could you put that down, please? Thank you. No, you're not gonna win the Nobel Prize!
You know, can the trailers for these plots we've heard a million times be reduced down to a single-lettered category? It would just make the cliches go faster.
He was a, B, but he didn't, A, but suddenly, let's go with C, and now they, alright, C again, Channel Awesome presents, oh come on, I can think of a better title than those.
And of course, insert fish out of water misunderstandings here.
Your ebony coffin preserves winter for food and ale.
What is this enchanted altar? And what sort of plant does not need water?
So this mystical portal shares in our people's adventures?
What is this thing in front of me? Oh, it's my hand! Witchcraft! And trust me, if that doesn't do it for you, then you're in for a whole world of hurt. This film is like a retelling of Thor, except all the kind of enjoyable moments that were in there are now replaced with just the cat-denting scenes. You have been warned. So Carl, rather than deal with the problem, decides to just go to bed and hope that everything takes care of itself. The first believable act of an obsessed gamer I've seen all movie.
Morning. Who is she?
The next morning, he sees that Yimbroth has abducted a kid, thinking that he has saved her from a monster that was really just a school bus.
That's a school bus, you idiot!
Fed her sweet treats and ale to restore her stamina.
You know, couldn't the enchanted magical realm of Skyguard have fixed his wig a little better?
Is that my hard cider?
That's okay, mister. We were gonna have a test today anyway.
Oh my god, she's drunk. No, you have to get out, now.
This guy. I love this guy.
And that's probably the only performance I can believe in this picture. If I was a kid on set, I know I'd want a drink.
And what is this? Are you working for Castle Grayskull now?
His girlfriend, of course, finds out and is immediately drawn to Yimbroth's chivalry. Or maybe she just thinks he's Weird Al doing a Lord of the Rings parody. Either way, he's still got more manhood than imitation Jufro over here.
Oh crap, I gotta go, I'm gonna be late.
So he tells Jessica to keep him at home, but she loses him when she has to head out to a job that is never really described. Maggie Gyllenhaal stand in? Oh. He, of course, follows Carl to work and, as is common with these setups, blends in just fine through convenient misunderstandings. Even flipping the boss over doesn't seem to upset anybody.
But sir, he flipped you!
And I took it like a black Chuck Norris. We're men. This is what we do. He gave me a challenge, and we fought. Lisa, hook him up with HR.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to visit a man in prison who tried to assassinate me and make him vice president of the company. Yimbroth's brought in to motivate the other workers, which naturally pisses Carl off. Almost as much as the fact that Yimbroth is doing better at looking after his sick girlfriend. He comes from a world where this is considered charming and not creepy. Last time I snuck into a woman's room and watched her sleep, let's just say it really was the last time. Things are even worse when she's awake, as it looks like he's moved on from creepy stalking to gift giving. Oh, come on. It's one thing to pose like you're in a porn for women's calendar, but this time you know what you're doing.
When I entered the tomb as Fence Fongard, I fought the ghost of a mystic dragon. In his ribs, there is this pendant of incredible beauty. I give it to you.
Wow, I should use that story every time I buy jewelry from Kmart.
Yeah, word of advice, Yimbroth. Printing out fake price tags that read Tiffany's on it works just as well. But the dragon story ain't bad either. This naturally gets Carl mad, and he tells Yimbroth off.
Hey, gnome fucker. Back off. Do you hear me? Back off. No, not from me, from her.
No, I will not mind Drumbeat for that one. Yimbroth starts to feel bad that he's not doing his master proud, so he decides to throw him a party, thinking it'll win him over.
Ah, my wonderful lord!
Nothing but that strong, muscular, kinda doughy design that most video game characters have. What do you think Yimbroth can bench press? 1, maybe 2 pounds at most?
The rest of you, get out!
Carl, of course, sends everybody home, but just before finding out that Yimbroth's been given an upper management position at his job. But to be fair, who can say no to that 11:30 shadow?
It appears I—
Shut up!
Jessica decides to leave too after she discovers that Carl's been trying to recreate her in the game.
Customize your character however you want.
Then you should be honored, you know why? Because I'm playing you in the game.
No, Carl. You're playing me in real life.
Honey. Honey!
We'll return to the Lifetime movie that we stole from the Oxygen Network after this.
What am I supposed to do?
Roll up, or go pound your pixelated pussy for all I care.
Haven't you seen the movie Her? It's convincing and beautiful if you watch it drunk. Yimbroth decides to follow her lead as he gives Carl one last farewell.
How has it come to pass that you've become bored with simply being?
You ruined my life.
No, I lived it.
So you see, kids, Carl ends up not getting what he wants because he was a jerk to everybody. Oh, I'm sorry. I just thought I'd point that out in case you didn't catch what the subtle message they were trying to put in there was. That Carl didn't get what he wanted because he was a jerk to everybody. Did you get that? Did you get the message that Carl didn't get what he wanted because he was a jerk to everybody? Good, because it was a quiet, not-so-in-your-face message that I'm afraid some of you might have missed. That Carl didn't get what he wanted because he was a jerk to everybody. Oh, there also was an analogy to the Holocaust in there, but everybody could pick up on that. Frustrated, Carl makes yet another foolish wish, which gets him sucked into the game as the female character he created. Boy, the zappy wishing logic behind this is kind of sporadic, isn't it?
You have a duty!
I have a life. Sorry.
So Yimbroth lives his life to the fullest, Carl is trapped forever in his punishment, and a valuable lesson about obsessed gamers is learned. Unless, of course, you're an obsessed gamer, in which case, you have seen the most noble, humble funeral for one of gaming's greatest heroes since, I don't know, one of those doofuses who played Warcraft to death or something. But that's only one of the stories. We have another one on the way!
Everyone has something they can't imagine.
After
The loss of a
hijinks.
child's doll can be equal to the loss of a king's crown. I lost my doll once. It told me it loved me. It's the only thing that ever told me it loved me. My God, I miss you, Mr. Popples.
Well, I'm glad your Mr. Popples did that. Mine just cut me with glass and called me ethnic slurs. Probably should have had that looked at, actually. The next one is called Dragged In, and already, just its credits have surpassed the plausibility of the last story we saw. But that's where it pretty much stops, as we see a vet is abducted by 2 government agents. Or maybe pallbearers, I don't know. For once I want a person in black suit and shades not to be a government agent. And is taken to a big dark room where I think those guys who control the Avengers make their decisions.
3 days ago, we received the first confirmed communication from beyond our solar system.
Radio astronomers have traced the transmission to a planet 27 light years away from Earth.
Ah, yes, because these guys look like the pencil pusher stiffs running our country. I'm sure this person especially has had to keep a lot of top secrets about the next Friendship is Magic episode.
People of Earth, we are the Katozas of the planet without you.
They let him know that aliens from the planet Leftovers 60 Star Trek props is looking for something from Earth. But the video is all jumbled, so they want him to translate what the aliens want. Something you'll notice very quickly, by the way, is that this special enjoys using wipes more than a newborn baby with a vomitous allergic reaction to air. Look, I can use a wipe too! And another one! And another one! And another one! Fuck happened there? So he translates the message, and it looks like the aliens want all the world's cats. Why? So that all the Channel Awesome producers who have cats can make cameos, of course.
I miss that fat
There, I found a replacement cat. I don't need him.
I woke up this morning and my cats were right here. Look, there's Big Lloyd.
I'll give the special one thing. It's a great ad. Why to get dogs? Speaking of which, the aliens that took all the cats find they can't stand the cats. Why? Well, because they're cats.
Finally, that's the last of them. Who would have known how difficult it would be to herd these creatures?
Ah, so that's what Dr. Claw looked like all this time. Come to think of it, now the name kind of makes sense too. Yeah! So they return all the cats to Earth and then it just ends. Great story, huh? I hear they had another story about King Kong getting ready to rip up a city to look for a bologna sandwich, but then he finds out he already had a bologna sandwich and then he did nothing. But that was too exciting. The next one is called The Reviewers, starting
Just
with...
when you think you're safe. That's
more hijinks.
By the way, I talked to Vanessa.
Who?
The station manager.
You want to see a magic trick? It's called fast forwarding the filler. It may not seem like much of a trick, but by God, the feeling of joy it gives me sure seems magical. The Reviewers. This one centers around the subject of a web critic looking to get famous despite the fact that he has basically nothing going for him. So, pretty much most web critics. Most. We see our main character trying to get noticed as an online reviewer by dressing up as a vampire and creating a gimmick.
Anyway, I read an article one time about people who do this kind of thing for a living.
Ha! Now I know this is fake. Nobody's ever written an article about online reviewing. That require the online demographic to read.
Here. What's this? It's chapstick from when you kiss my ass after you see my video.
His best friend comes over who is also interested in this line of so-called work and manages to make a video himself.
You refused to watch that Kissinger movie because it had Ron Silver beardless in it.
Okay, that was literally him betraying his roots. And that's something I got a problem with.
You know, it's brave that this special tells a story about people making productions with no money put into it at all, by having it made by people making a production with no money put into it at all. Unlike that David and the Dentist video. Did you know that was entirely green screen and David was a CG puppet? In fact, half the video was just a rendering glitch. His friend's video is not big on cost either, or even much reviewing, as all he does is tell giant sci-fi stories that have nothing to do with what he's actually talking about.
Well, while we're waiting for the rescue ship to show up, let's talk about Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday.
Well, that's something I know reviewers constantly don't do. Lose focus. Like the time I saw Vin Diesel at the premiere of Fred 3, neither of us would admit why we were actually there, but you might have noticed an edit there, because I got distracted by something that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. My apologies. Now, let us return to our review, Wicker Man 2! I was really Ghost Rider! You might have noticed another edit there, but that happens when you have years of sexual repression building up and then all you can think about is Jessica Lange dressed up as a snowman with her big— You might have noticed another edit. I'm just gonna stop there. So neither of the videos are getting many hits, but to his best friend, that's what matters least. The most important thing to know how you hit the big time is if you have haters.
And there's one surefire way to see if the right people are watching.
What's that?
It's if we have any haters yet.
Well, if that's the case, Mel Gibson's career must be going through the roof. They also look to be as popular as the #1 personality on YouTube called the Messiah.
Hush, hush. I thought I heard you calling my name now. Hush. And now a reading from the Association. Every time I think I'm the only one who's lonely, someone calls on me. And then along comes Mary. Dude, this empty cup is as sweet as the fudge.
Okay, for once in my life, I'm actually gonna give the internet more credit and say this would not be #1 on YouTube. For one, there's no cute animals, racial slurs, or popular musicians dressed like prostitutes. Second, even if it is satire, nothing religious on YouTube will ever get anything past 90 views. I know because those 90 people all go to the same church to ask why nobody watches their sermons on YouTube. So Andy loses his job and he talks it over with his friend and girlfriend, who we're now seeing, and apparently they're all roommates. Hey, 2/3 in isn't the worst time to establish your environment.
We all live in this house together, and I cannot carry all 3 of our asses for another month.
Hey, I have a job.
I appreciate every little thing you do, but without Andy's help,
I can find another job.
But it's okay because they've gone into quadruple digits because they've gotten a negative response video from—
This guy's wearing a shitty store-bought vampire costume that makes him look like Bela Lugosi's retarded faggot stepson.
the amazing Steven Dorff.
This is just constructive criticism, guys. So you can't get mad at me, because if you get mad at me, you hate criticism. And that defeats the purpose. Fucking faggots.
Sounds like Tuesday's fan mail for me.
What's the fun of making fun of things if people also can't make fun of us?
But they tried to be optimistic as Andy wraps up his thoughts on going into reviewhood.
Maybe we're not going to be successful right off the bat, but I have to keep trying. As the Messiah once said, I'm just a soul whose intentions are good. Oh Lord, please don't let me be misunderstood.
You know, we always called each other good fellas. Like, you tell someone, yeah, you're gonna like this guy. He's alright. He's a good fella. Unless he's a reviewer, in which case you kick him in the nads and piss on his aching scumbag body. The Reviewers. So as The Reviewers wraps up, we begin our next special, Internet Dating and Me.
I know, you can hardly
But
tell
first,
the
hijinks,
difference.
skip it! This one centers around Mike J making a documentary of sorts, showing his attempts as an internet personality to try and get dates.
You know, I've got legions of fans who will throw themselves at me. Literally, once. That was messy.
And if you're like me, all you can think of when you see a funny British person in a documentary is, please go to 11. He tries talking via Skype with a date, but finds it's Diamanda Hagen, who, if you don't know, looks like Ronald McDonald if he was melting into the Joker. And he tries to back out.
You?
Yeah, I'm fine. It's good to see you.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. How you been?
Yeah, not bad. Oh, I'm really sorry, my phone's ringing. It's my dentist. I'm gonna have to call you back. I'm really sorry. Bye.
God, that's gotta be tough to go through. I wouldn't be surprised if this veers her off men and gears her towards women. He finally finds someone who seems to be up his alley, so he agrees to meet with her. It's raining in Britain? Pfft, what are the fucking odds? Oh hey, he must have driven to a sunnier place. Like Seattle. But little does he realize he's not gonna get what he expected, as we see Film Brain bravely playing the part of a young bisexual woman. No, I mean, that's just Film Brain playing Film Brain. Sorry, Film Brain.
Your name on the dating website was Mish, as in Michelle?
They both get confused because their names were jumbled online. And apparently the dating site had no place to identify gender, apparently. God, how often does that happen? I remember this one time I did online dating and it turns out it was a parrot. Never did figure out how she could type. So, M&M decide to still continue the date despite the fact that they have no intention of being romantic. At least, in this version. The slash fic this would spawn I can't speak for, but they do.
Come on, you've seen those drawings people have done online. You probably saw those and thought,
So I set up this date with you so that I could kiss you?
maybe.
Maybe I'm just waiting for you to fall into unconsciousness so I can lunge across the table and have my dirty way with you.
So if you like to see two guys arguing like a gay couple without actually having sex, then clearly you need to see To Believely. Eventually, Mike drugs Film Brain's drink, drags him off, and that's it! Another very quick and sporadic story. You know, that King Kong sandwich story is sounding better and better the more I think about it. So, after hijinks, we get our final special called Dark Side of the Internet. You mean there was a bright side to the internet? This is another documentary, but not like the last one. This is, for lack of a better term, real. No, actually, there is no better term. That was the best one. This one's put together by Matt Williams, aka Welshie. And aside from sounding like an 80s infomercial, it starts off pretty solid.
The days of high street shops with DVDs and games bought over the counter seem to be fading into obscurity.
Though it does sort of look like the symbols from the men's and ladies' rooms somehow got their own sitcom. Bathrooms, from the people still apologizing for cavemen.
Where there's a positive, there is always a negative, and the internet is no exception. This is just a sample of the negatives that the internet can hold. This is the dark side of the internet.
Not to be confused with the wall of the internet or the division bell of the internet.
While the positives of the internet can be viewed as beneficial to both us and to society in general, there are just as many negatives that are not only viewed as a detriment to society, but can paint human beings in a harsh, distinctly negative light. These can range from copyright infringement to bullying, harassment, stalking, verbal abuse, mental abuse. The list can go on and on.
Yes, because there was no signs of that before the internet. Few people know that Mussolini was secretly on Tumblr.
Comparing this scenario to a real-life situation.
Oh look, it's the missing French leader of the Three Stooges. Anorexia.
By the sheer fact that they don't agree with you is seen as an insult against you, your character, and your beliefs.
So we hear about all the various dangers of the internet, including anonymity, and how it can be used to bully, be a perverted predator, and just all around be a loser douchebag.
What are the consequences when the victim gets threats directed to their email, their Facebook page, or even their home address?
I guess that's something that I've experienced firsthand. People have anonymity, and so they say things to you that they wouldn't say in person. They have a mask to hide behind. And unfortunately, when you're in the spotlight, when you are a personality who has put themselves forward, people know you better than you know them, and that also makes you a target.
Okay, kinda having a hard time finding anything funny about this one. Oh, I know. How about the people being offended are just whiny pansies and the actual bullies themselves are just big losers?
What about when the person is an older man or woman preying on a younger male or female, using anonymity to seek out their target, and then slip away after poisoning their mind into believing what happened was their fault, leaving them free to move on to their next target?
Well, when you put it like that...
Not everyone can read a comment and laugh it off, and no one in life is flawless and perfect.
Can we go back to the lowbrow penis jokes, please? It was kinda easier to say those weren't funny than having my balls depressed off.
People are individuals.
Oh, Linkara! Here we go! I do a great Linkara impression! Yeah! People always make fun of my voice! Yeah!
Words are important. Words have power and are the basis by which human beings interact with each other. Communication, speech, writing, words are everything, and as a writer, I always take that to heart.
Yeah. Okay, so what he says actually makes a lot of sense. In fact, what a lot of these people say actually makes a whole shit ton of sense.
Putting fingers to ears because you don't want to hear it isn't enough, because it's happening. It's happening right now while you're watching this, and instead of looking to blame society, video games, the government, or the TV shows we watch, stop looking to others for the problem and look at yourself.
Hey! As an American, I take great offense at that. We as Americans always have the right to blame something else. It is our gift of dodging responsibility. This special is saying if we want something fixed, we need to start with the mirror. Well, fine! I can fix you. I can't fix you. No, I can't. I can't fix you. You are not too late. You can be redeemed. You are fixable. You are fixable. And I'm gonna start now. There, now I can hang that so much easier. By God, they were right. Fixing the mirror did help a lot. Oh, and looking into the deepest, darkest part of my soul and realizing that I'm okay, I'm a human being, and that everybody goes through the things that I go through, and we can all heal and make the world better also plays a big part. But the mirror, I think, works better. Okay, so maybe this special is pretty flawless. It does well showing those who may not understand why hateful comments and trolling and cyberbullying aren't just something to be ignored. And that, in the end, also shows the value of appreciating other people's work. Yeah, I know what this is getting to. The Uncanny Valley isn't perfect, but it at least showcases a lot of talented people doing their thing. And doing it to the best of their ability and having a lot of fun doing it. There's a lot of talent, a lot of creativity, and a lot of hard work that went into this. It's good people making, not classics, but something that others can look at and find enjoyment in. And in the end, why would I ever want to demean something as beautiful as that? Unless you paid a lot of money for me to do so. Which you did, the special sucks. I'm the Nostalgia Critic, I remember it, so you don't have to! Yeah.